Let's continue to work on our page and add some other sections. We'll start off by adding an area that is going to have a combination of some icons and some text, and we will make this area so that it is responsive and the layout changes based on the size of the page. I'm just going to make a comment and identify that this is going to be my programs area. And then we'll begin by making a section with an ID of programs. Inside here, I'll start off by making a div with a class of container, in addition to margin on the top and the bottom of 4. Inside this div, we're going to go ahead and add an H2. And then I'm going to make a paragraph, and this paragraph is going to use the text muted class, which will be a slightly lighter version of the text color. In addition to that, I'm going to create margin on the bottom, and we'll use 5 for that. After the paragraph, it is time to create a div with a class of row. This will allow us to create the responsive section. And inside this div, we are going to have multiple divs that are going to use the same sort of settings. So I'll go ahead and create one, and then I'll simply copy paste and make the changes that I need to. We're going to be using divs, and they are going to have classes of call-sm-6. In addition to that, we'll use call-lg-4. And this is going to ensure that at the various breakpoints, the layout is going to change. I will also be adding some margin on the bottom to each of these, and we'll use a MB-3 to create some margin settings. Inside each of these divs, we are going to be using some Font Awesome elements. So for my first Font Awesome item, I'm going to use a class of far. And in addition, I'll use the unique classes that I want to use. So the first one's going to be fa.circle. And after this icon, we are going to create an H6 with some lorem ipsum text. And then next we'll have a paragraph, and again I'm going to use the text muted, and this will just contain some lorem ipsum text. So if I go ahead and save this and we refresh on the page, you can see an idea of what this is going to look like. And as I've mentioned, I'm just going to duplicate this and make 5 more of these. Once we have this in here and we save and refresh, you can see what we get. And if we resize our page, you will see that the layout is going to switch to a 3-column layout at the very large screen size, and then as I reduce my screen size down, we go to a 2-column layout, and then finally it will switch to a 1-column layout at the very small screen size. What we're going to do is we're just going to use a little custom CSS to change the layout. I'll go into my CSS right here, and I'm going to add to my Font Awesome .fa and .far, which will increase the size. And then in addition to this, I am going to alter the colors of the icons, and I will do this by just adding a little bit of custom CSS. If we save now and we refresh, you can see how my icons are much larger, and the color is indicative of our color scheme that we're using on our page. So I think this looks pretty good. This section is now complete. Next, we'll move on, and we're going to add a carousel section to our web page. A carousel is a way that you can make a slideshow, and you can use it to cycle through a series of content, whether that be pictures or text or other types of things. There's a lot of really cool ways that you can incorporate carousels quite easily into your projects. Let's go ahead and do that now. I'll start off by making a section with an ID of carousel. Inside my section, I'm going to make a div. This div will need a class of carousel and a class of slide. In addition, I'm going to give this an ID of slider1. Every carousel that you make should have a unique ID if you're planning on using more than one carousel on your page. Next, I'll be using an ordered list to create the slideshow indicators, and this makes the most sense to me since it's going to be a list of controllers that we would use for our slideshow. You will need as many list items as you plan on using images for your slideshow. So for my purposes, I'm going to be using 3. The ordered list is going to have a class of carousel-indicators, as well as a class of list unstyled, since I don't want this to look like a typical list. Then I'm going to create 3 li items. They will contain buttons, and the buttons are going to need to have a number of attributes. I'm going to go ahead and set the type attribute to button. Then we're going to use data-bs-target. The value of this needs to match the ID that we attached to our slider. So for our purposes, that is #slider1. Then we're going to add the attribute of data-bs-slide2. And we are going to use unique numbers for each of our slides, but we'll start off with the first one being 0. So I'm just going to populate this with 0. And then we still need a couple more attributes. The next one is going to be aria-label, and this will be unique for each slide. So I'm going to set this to slide, and I'll use $, so it just populates with slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. And that should be it. Now I'm just going to expand that out, and let me just clean up my code here real quickly to make this a little bit easier to read. All right, and as you can see, I have li elements. Inside each li, I have my button with all of the attributes. And as I mentioned, each of these needs to have a unique value for the data BS slide. So I start with 0, and I just numerically count up from there. Since I have only 3 slides, I'll use 0, 1, and 2. And the other thing that I'm going to want to do is I need to have one of my slides, whichever one is going to start off being displayed. I'm going to use my first one. I'm going to add the aria-current attribute. We'll set this to true. And then finally, I'm going to add a class of active. And as we use our slideshow, these attributes are going to be dynamically replaced to each of the current slides, but we don't have to do anything because Bootstrap takes care of that for us. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come outside of the OL, the ordered list, and we'll move on to the next area of our slideshow. So this is going to require that we create a div. This is going to have a class of carousel-inner. And inside of this, I'm going to be using figure elements because I want to not only display an image, but I also want to display a fig caption. We'll go ahead and make 3 figure items. They are going to have classes of carousel-item. Each of those figures is going to contain an image, and I'm going to go ahead and just set up my source value. I know what all my images are going to be called, so they're in the images folder, and I'm just using images called C1, C2, C3.jpg, so I'll use the $sign as part of emmet so I can shortcut into that. I'm going to also add the alt value, and we'll go ahead and specify that we want this to just say CLife 1, 2, 3. And then after my image, I am going to make a fig caption. And for the fig caption, we need to assign a class of carousel-caption. And we're also going to use a class of d-none. This will prevent the captions from showing at very small screens. It's going to take up a little too much real estate, so I'm just going to hide that. And then I'm going to use d-md-block, which will ensure that the captions are going to show once the screen hits the medium size. And inside each of my captions, I'm going to go ahead and use an H5 for the heading, followed by a paragraph with some lore mepsum text. And when I expand out, you can see how I get 3 figure elements, and each figure element is going to contain its own image and its own fig caption, like so. The active image needs to have an active class, so similar to what we did up here. I'll just go ahead and add the class of active to the first item. That's the one that I want to be displaying by default. And then finally, what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and after we close our carousel inner, I'm going to make my next and previous buttons. To use this, I'm going to just use anchor elements, and my anchor elements are going to be similar, but they'll use slightly different code. So they're going to have carousel-control, and the previous one will be called prev. The next one will be called next. These are going to be a type equal to button, and we need to add some other attributes. So we're going to use the data-bs-target, and the value for this needs to match the ID that we assigned to our slideshow. So we used slider 1. I'm going to put hash slider 1, and then we also need to use our data-bs-slide. And for the previous button, that's going to have a value of prev. For the next, it'll have a value of next. And inside of these links, we're going to use a couple of span elements. So the span elements are going to have classes of, for the first one anyways, carousel-control, and we'll use -prev icon for the first one. We'll need to change that to next when we go ahead and create that next one. And in addition to that, we are going to create an attribute of aria hidden equals true. And then we'll go ahead and create one more span element. This is a sibling to the one that we just created. And this is just for usability. So in case someone visits our site and they are using a screen reader or something like that, this will give them instructions as to what to do. So I'm going to use a class of visually hidden, which means that this element will not be seen by visual users, but if it's a screen reader, this will give them some information. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we actually want to have 2 of these anchor links, so I'm just going to multiply that by 2, and as you can see, I have my A elements right here. And again, let me just clean up my code to make this a little bit easier for us to see and stay organized. That looks pretty good, and we'll actually make the href values for these links just be null links. So I'm just going to go ahead and populate those with the hash, and then I just need to come in and change everywhere in the second link that it says prev. I'm going to change that to say next. So I'll go ahead and target all of those. We'll get rid of those and we'll write next. And then obviously the text itself needs to say next. And that should take care of it. Although I am noticing that my aria hidden, I neglected to put an equal sign here. So let me just fix that really quick. Okay, that now looks great. We'll save this and let's take a look in the browser. So I'm going to refresh, and if we scroll down, as you can see, our slideshow is going to show up. Now, visually, it has a little bit of problems. It doesn't show up the way we would hope, but if you look, you can kind of see this arrow right here. This is going to let me navigate to the previous slide item, and you can see that the caption is changing as we rotate through. We also have these indicators down here, which are another way that we can navigate through the slideshow. The next button is actually located somewhere over here, so it is functioning. We just can't see it right now, and that's because our page is wider than the image. So if my page is more narrow, you can get a better idea of how this is going to look, and everything seems to be functioning correctly. But what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of custom CSS so I can circumvent the large screen and make this look a little bit better. We'll go into our base.css file, and we're just going to add a couple styles here. So the first one is going to be .carousel-item space image, and we're just going to go ahead and set the width of the image to 100%. This will ensure that the image is going to take up the full screen. If I refresh now, you can see how my image is taking up the entire width, no matter what size my screen is, so that looks much better. And then I want my captions to be a little bit easier to read. Depending on the image that I have, the captions aren't always completely legible, especially images where it's a little bit lighter at the bottom. So in order to restyle those, I'm going to use .carousel-caption, and we will set the width of this to 100%. We're going to set the background color, and I'm just going to make it a partially transparent black. So I'm going to use RGBA. We'll go ahead and pass in 000 for the values and then 0.8 for the opacity or the alpha. And then to center the captions, I'm just going to add a left and right value of inherit. And this will ensure that the captions stay centered. Got to make sure we spell that correctly. And finally, I'm going to add a little bit of padding to these carousel indicators down at the bottom. So let's just use carousel-indicators, and we'll set our padding bottom to 1 rem. Let's save that, and we'll give this a refresh. And you can see now the captions are much easier to see, as well as the little indicators that I have right here. I'm able to navigate through my slideshow, and everything is working correctly. And this slideshow is fully responsive, so if we make our page much smaller, the slideshow is just going to resize down and it's still going to function in the same way. When our page is smaller, you can see that we lose the captions. That is a result of us using the D none. I chose to do that because I didn't want the captions to overlap on top of the image too much. If I just get rid of this on one of these and we refresh, you'll see that if my page is quite a bit smaller, if you have a longer caption, it starts to encroach a little bit too much upon the image, in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to use D none, which is simply going to hide the captions at the small screen. We don't really need them there. And then once the screen hits the medium breakpoint, they're going to kick back in and they will be part of the web page. So now we've added these next 2 sections. We've gone ahead and made a responsive area that is going to allow the page layout to change based on the size of the screen. And then we have our slideshow and we can fully navigate through that. And obviously we just added 3 images, but you could add as many as you need to.